Let's focus on food a little bit, and that's a lot of what folks are consuming this Christmas and New Year period. Consumption goes up. So the Nigerian food basket showed an average increase of 33% in the prices of key domestic commodities and ingredients in 2019. That's quite steep. So I'm asking Aisat Dahoud, one of the research analysts with financial derivatives, joining us from our studios at the Nigerian Stock Exchange, a few questions. Why the food inflation increased in November, and why the inflation remains stubbornly high and is likely, and if it's going to change anytime soon? Aisat, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. That's the question. Very high food prices. Is it likely to change anytime soon?
Food prices, since 2019, we've had steady rise in food inflation from 14.09% to 14.48%. That's month-on-month basis. So food inflation is majorly driven by seasonality, storage, logistics. Land border closure is also a part of what's putting pressure on food inflation. However, the three major reasons why food inflation has been on the rise is logistics. One, logistics. Logistics as regards the cost of transporting the farm produce from the rural to the urban area. Also, the storage facilities. We need to leverage on technology in order to improve the way we preserve our perishable goods so that they wouldn't result into a loss and affect the rise in price. Usually, farmers lose about 50% of perishable goods harvested before they even get to the final consumers. If you lose 50%, that's going to affect the quantity supplied into the market and relatively translate to increase in price. That's boom, inflation setting. Also, lastly, we have money supply. Money supply is also a reason why we can have rise in food inflation, where we have so much money in circulation. And when we have so much money in circulation, there's tendency for demand to pick up. And when there's increase in demand, there's also there's going to be a general level, high price level generally in demand. And boom, that's also inflation. Let me also add that possibility of having a change from the rising inflation is certain. Because why? Nigerian spending consists of majorly three things. We have the food consumption. That's a large chunk of it. It takes a large chunk of it. That's 60% of our spending in Nigeria. Food consumption, yes. Food consumption takes 60% of our spending in Nigeria. We also have education and health. So why I said there's going to be a possibility of change from rising food inflation is because in January, parents will be forced to cut down slightly on food consumption in order to have more money to pay for school fees, education, and the like. So we're looking forward to a lower food inflation by January 2020.
You're preaching to the converted. Kids tend to eat a lot more during the holidays, so mothers can't wait to get them out of the house and get them into school buses and take them out because it reduces the cost of running the homes at this period of the year. But again, so what happens if the land border closure extends into second quarter of 2020? What's the outlook on inflation here? Food inflation, to be precise.
Land border closure commenced August this year. As at then, food inflation was 13.17%. Aftermath effect of the land border closure, food inflation started rising to 13.51%. We have 14.09%. Now we have 14.48%. So there's been this correlation between the supply-demand gap. Immediately the land border closure set in, we had a very wide supply-demand gap. And now the gap has been reducing as local farmers have stepped in to fill in the gaps because of reduced competition. They've been encouraged to come in and fill in the void. However, if the land border closure should extend further into the second quarter of 2020, there's going to be a need for the supply gap to increase further than it has been reduced marginally. It's going to increase further because we're going to have that season, second quarter in 2020, that's the season for planting. We're going to have reduced quantity supplied to the market. And when we have reduced quantity supplied to the market, there's going to be increased demand. And increasing demand is going to increase the price, and we're going to have another spike in inflation again, second quarter 2020.
So squeezing the new minimum wage into this conversation for us, Aisat.
The new minimum wage, when it was announced, sellers already factored this into their price levels. As I mean, there's this announcement effect, and then we also have this payment effect. So new minimum wage was announced, and everybody already factored that into the price of everything they're selling. However, now that some states are paying, even when more states pay now, we'll have more money in town. We have people demanding, and they have the purchasing power to be able to meet what they want to buy.
Oh, interesting. So let's see how all of this come together into the new year in terms of food inflation. Thank you so much, Aisat Dawood, a member of the Economic Think and Research Analyst team at Financial Derivatives Company. Thank you so much. Live to us from our studios at the Nigerian Stock Exchange.